Let's play in some Demi. I'm going to go over a couple of techniques and the brushes. And the brushes are on sale, so come hang out with me. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments. I'd be glad to answer them. If you wish to be color matched or need a plan for Demi, you can go to yes.outtherematchme.com. Hey guys, say hello when you jump on. I'm hardly ever on at this time of the day. I'm surviving the week. All right, let's do a little bit. I will just ask any questions you have. I'm going to share my favorite Demi brushes, which are on sale. Hey. And I'm also going to share some techniques. And I don't know if you saw the technique that I shared the other day for under eyes that I kind of playing around. And I've been wearing it for the past 3 days that way. And I'm going to do it here live. So you know there's no smoke and mirrors. I'm just putting on some lip conditioner as I prep. I've already got my brows done because I just took off my makeup from the day to go live and to do a little tutorial with you guys. So my brows are already done and I have a mascara and that's it. And I applied a little bit more moisturizer since I washed off my face. All right, I want to start with NO-1, and I'm going to use a shape brush. This is my favorite brush. This works with the creams and it works with Demi. I would not mix it up, but if you're going to use one for Demi, this is the best one and the top pick of all the brushes that are on sale. And I'm going to use the NO-1 and I'm going to do it a little bit of warmth of the skin, and at the same time, since it's a neutral, has a little depth to it, and it's going to give me some depth around my forehead, which is pretty thin skin. As we age, the skin gets kind of thin, so you see a lot of it will be more of a yellow, white, reflected, and so this just kind of warms it up and gives depth back to the skin. So this is the reason why I like to put a little bit of orange. I've done different things, put a little red up there. It's all according to your skin tone, but you can't go wrong with the NO-1 ever. I'm going to take just a little and go right here in this part where the bone sticks out, so the skin is thin there, so more veins show up, but you can see how that vein is there and it's now just nice and neutralized. When you're tapping the brush to the tin, which I never really hold them like this, I leave them in my compact, but I'm holding them so you can see them, you're lightly tapping. I'm not pushing in. That's what I love about these brushes is they have blunt ends on them, so it picks up little product. So it really helps you control it. And I love the density of it because it just kind of bounces on the skin nicely. It's a great design. And I'm going to take a little underneath here. I like the NO-1 underneath here because it's shadowy, the jaw, the bones there, so the skin will get kind of thin and kind of, as we age, it starts lovely sagging a little bit. And this is shadowy, so this is going to warm it up. Shadows are blue, and ashiness, thin skin tendency has a tendency to be more icy blue, so the orange is great for that because it's opposite of it. All right, I'm now going to use this. I'm going to switch brushes, but guys, this is the same brush. It's a shape brush. It's just one that the company gave us. I could just wipe it off, but I like to use the same brush and not have to constantly clean it off. So I have another one that I'm going to use a different sculpt color with. I am going to use a little bit of the green sculpt. This is NG, and I'm going to use a small end of the shape brush. And I'm going to take a little bit of that green right in here underneath my cheeks. It really does really well for people that have freckles and on your skin, and more fair to medium with freckles. This NG works, mimics that warmth and green of the freckles, and so you kind of connect where you are missing them and creates a little bit of sculpt at the same time. I'm going to now switch to the blur brush on sale as well. a dome dents. And this, I'm going to look into my mirror, but I'm going to use the same color and do a little bit of sculpting with the NG around my nose area. So I really like to build this up where that bone is and kind of give an illusion that my cheek is pushing this up, creating some depth there. Okay, and so I'm going to use a little bit of that. Please ask any questions you have. I am going to, in between areas where I am missing freckles or where freckles connected as I have aged and it's left some places, and I'm going to add color in those missing areas, and it's naturally giving me some sculpt on my nose instead of just kind of like following a line. I'm trying to do it in between those areas, and it would just work so quickly. So right in here, if that spot is smaller, we would use a smaller brush, but this one works really well for these places on me. So you just kind of look, in that area that you're wanting to work with should match the size of the brush. I want you to notice I am like lightly tapping, getting a little bit of product. You never should see the product on the skin. If you do, you're picking up too much and you just kind of blend it off. Do you not, you see it already? I know, me too. It's so fun, I love it. All right, I'm gonna go right in there. Do you see how that just kind of lifts the cheek a little bit? And it's kind of odd because we're like adding, but if you think about it, this up here adds a little more shadow there. Now this is too light color. This is NG. It works really nicely. I'm using it because of freckling, okay? I'm using this because of freckling in here, and the freckling, this NG matches my freckles really well. You could use NR. You can, it's just look at your skin tone, kind of look what you want step, play with them if you have the sculpts. NY works really well if you do not have any freckles in that area. And also NV, I mean, you can't go wrong with using a little bit of shadow there. Jaw, this is NO-1. Love that one. You can't go wrong with NO-1. It's like the color that's a universal great color to start sculpting with. I promise you can't go wrong with it. You can do a lot with it because of orange is a dominant color in our skin, and we get lots of blue and distractions and added shadow, and orange works with that naturally as neutralizing it. So it's one of those colors you could play with. The next color I would add into the sculpt collection would be NV+1, then NR, and then start playing with NG and NY, or just all of them, because I tell you, you'll find more versatility than anything just adding a little bit and playing. But I wear a lot of the sculpts first before I do anything. Okay, so now I am going to, that's about it. Let's see, now I want to add, see where I have freckles up here, and I want a little warmth. Plus it's next to my hair, so I'm just going to use a small end of a shape brush, and I like to take the NR because the red in that is going to help some freckles that are not cute anymore right up there at the top part of my forehead. And it's just, they're just kind of, you know, ugly. They're not cute. And I'm going to take a little bit here in my temples because this is thin and I have veins here. So that red is going to warm it up. And see how it just thickens up my skin. So I don't look so thin skin. And here is a little different than the other side. I don't want to hit all of these. It picks it up. So I just kind of, each side of your face is going to be different. I'm more aged on this side than this one from driving for years. So I like to just be very small right here in this area where it's definitely hollow there in the vein. Okay, now I'm going to switch back to the shape brush, and I'm going to, since I use NO-1 on that, I'm going to swap it off and use it for the 05. Love this one. And I want to lightly tap in that, and this fatty part of my cheek, jaw, I'm going to add, oh, thank you, just a little bit. Now look guys, when I'm tapping this, like some of these colors I've had for a very long time. It should last you a long while. And I'm just adding a little warmth where I'm ashy right there. Then I also like to take a little here, the top part of my lip, just to give me some added warmth there. And right here in the middle. Okay. Guys, it goes so fast, doesn't it? All right, now I want to add some cheek color. Get distracted. I'm going to add some cheek color. So I am going to use the wash brush. I love using the wash brush for cheek color because it's very flimsy and it has a little bit of angle to it when it's pushed to one side. So it matches and it's really easy to control and get right in here. So when I apply cheek color, I really like to, because I've got this depth here, so I just want to add a little natural flush. Now, a lot of ladies that I have color matched in person have that natural flush in it, where it's one side does and the other one doesn't, maybe a little bit of rosacea, and they have it here, and we just might go up in here and give a little more warmth close to the eye, and the other side match it. Then there's going to always be some little hot points. Sometimes when people have a natural flush, we just filter those away and it looks like they're wearing blush. So I'm not fortunate enough to have a lot of flushing cheeks, but I like it because it just kind of gives me that youthful glow, that healthy look that we tend to lose as we age because our skin gets a little thin. So I'm going to add a little bit of warmth, and I like to come up high because I've added the depth, because I want to give the illusion of fullness up in here, and I want to add that color. This is also going to help with pigmentation underneath here. You can see that, and it will warm it up, and it makes the under eye process a lot easier. Okay, give me a thumbs up if that helps. All right, so when it comes to cheek color, you got room to play. I mean, there is no hard pressed color. If this color looks good on me, it's also the mood that you're in, what you want to wear. I love, my favorites that I wear a lot is Red 5. I wore Cherry today and I really loved it. I think I'm gonna put it back on today. I really liked it. I wore Cherry today. I like Grape. Thank you, thank you. I could say I'd like any of those cheek colors. I've worn Tangerine, lots to choose from. Madrid on the 3D side, Baby Watermelon. I don't wear the glosses with the Demi as much as on my cheeks, but definitely on the lips. I have large pores, and it just kind of seems to be, and the Demi allows my own skin to show through, so I don't need the gloss from the glossy lip and cheek. So I'd rather stick with the mattes. But Madrid is a favorite. Baby Watermelon. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're here. Any of the mattes, but the key is this: go to the brightest, most bold color first and play with those colors. So I like bright, very vibrant colors on a lot of the ladies that I color match in person and on myself when we're doing the Demi method. I'm going to use Cherry, like I said, love it. I'm just going to take a little bit, it takes just a little, and I'm just going to go up high. I'm not layering it over product that I've already applied because I already have the NG right here, so, and the NG right there. I'm just trying to not layer at all, and I'm coming high up onto my eye, and then you can see how that just kind of just looks warm. Yes, Madrid, love it. Such a pretty color. anytime anybody asks me, he's like, what's a new cheek color? And I ask him, do you have Madrid? It's like, no. Okay, grab that one. But each cheek is a little different. Okay, I have more of a tear stain. We always tend to get a little tear stain. There's a vein that comes close there. And I'm just kind of stay away from that because it's just going to make it darker. So I don't have to keep adding work. Now, sometimes when you apply your cheek color, it's okay that something may be picked up there that you didn't notice. Maybe it's more a very small pink area, pink dot or something, and it just gets a little more. Or if your skin's very dry and you put something on and it's picking up the color, that just lets you know you need to do some exfoliating and some moisturizer. But it's okay, that's going to happen and you can just filter that away. But I find it's very easy, much easier if you do your cheek color and everything first before you do any under eye work or any of that. All right, so there is some cheek color. Yes, I love it. All right, let's go ahead and start with the under eyes. Let's try, how many of you have seen me share that video where I used NV+1 for my under eyes? Can you believe it? So I've been wearing it every day since then. What day was that? Saturday? And ever since then, I'm like, okay, I like to wear product for a little while and try it out before I actually share and see if I like it and see if I'm seeing it in all different light. And I'll oftentimes at work, I go with like crazy things. Okay, let's try it. Crazy things and different colors, and I'll go look in the mirror. I thought, okay, that is definitely not right. And it just confirms something that I knew, and I want to try it out, and it helps me learn. So let's try this. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. I am going to use NV+1, that color, underneath my eyes. And this is the concept. Instead of going to the darkest area and pinpointing, I feel like our focus becomes so zeroed in of all the distractions. We spend so much time trying to do it. What's really causing more of darkness show here, okay, and I want some, but I don't want all of that, right? It's if you have a bag or you have, like me, wrinkles, and you have up and downs, I believe it will. If you do it this way, you can use any of the sculpts like the NV+1. Try that one. Or the NY. I've done this with the NY, and I love it with the NY as well. NO, if you're medium to darker skin tones, I would go to the oranges. But definitely, there's room to play with the NV+1 for a lot of us. And I'm fair, and I'm going to show that to you. All right, so the goal is this. So when I smile and when I'm doing this, I'm smiling and I'm looking. And what really makes us show up darkness underneath our eyes. Love it. I love that one. I have to use that one. Is this the differentiation between light to dark? Okay, that's what's causing a lot of attention to it. And it makes it nice and stark. And it's like, okay, that is definitely a difference. Just like my nose, you know which direction my nose is going, and it slants back because you have that depth. That's why we contour our nose, because we're trying to create that differentiation with light and dark. Underneath our eyes, we're going the other way. We're trying to reverse that. So we have, and I have before, gone to the dark first. Hey, it is. I love it. So this concept, I am going to go to what's lightest first, and it seems to me to be a lot less work. So I kind of look, and if you look and see, the brightest is right in here and right in there. And I'm going to look in the mirror because it shows up a little bit differently than it does in the camera. But when I'm doing it, I put my makeup on in the morning, it's dark outside, I'm using light, false light, artificial light. And I am, oh, that's a lash. I am looking in the mirror kind of far away, smiling, and just pinpointing the brightest of the lightest area, okay? Instead of going to the darkest point and the darkest area. And I am just taking a little bit. This is the learning curve, probably a different little brush, but it's only going to take a little, and you may see it on my skin when I first apply it, because I feel like I got too much on my brush just then. But I am going to target, and I do have too much, so you just kind of do like that. But instantly, do you see that? I'm not doing anything else. Do you notice the harshness of that line is minimized? And I'm just going to focus a little bit and not talk. So I am just, look at this. Do you see it happening? I love it. I am just lightly tapping the brightest in the lightest area. And then I smile and do you not see it? Do you see this? Do you see how that line is so minimized, and what happened to my cheek now is fuller because now I've built back depth underneath my eye, because what is making my dark circles even more is hollowness and differentiation of levels. Isn't that the craziest thing? That's the reason why I believe anyone can use this exact same color the exact same way. Yes. And it just, you saw how little that took. I mean, just so little. And it works anywhere in that same concept. So when I smile, I have these like little bunny. So I'm just going to touch that. Do you see it? I mean, you can't, that is just like, it's very intelligent makeup is all I can tell you. Okay, I'm going to do this other eye. Lightly tap. Makeup would last me 10 years. This way. I'll never replace it. We're talking the tiniest amount. And like when I'm getting ready for work, see the first touch, I'm not going to panic because I do see the product. I'm not going to panic. I'm just going to pick up in that same spot and pick up, see that little dot? There we go. It doesn't me either. It's amazing. So if you'll just see, this is what this little spot here. See, each side of your face is different. And I just kind of smile and kind of create different angles to see it. And you see how lightly I am tapping. I am like instantly, do you see this softening up that harsh line? Hey, Lori. And look, guys, this is not difficult. This is not like, I can't do that. I don't see color to filter out, right? We don't have to. We're finding look at this. That was easy. We're just finding the brightest spot in that area that's creating that. And then when I think about it, it's like, well, duh, it should work because in painting murals and things, you play on light and shadow. Just look that right there. I could be done and not even use anything to take out the dark. It's like, all right, that looks actually really good. And in person, I keep looking at it. I've been wearing it the past few days, and I've just kind of looked. I'm getting in the mirror. I'm looking in different light. And every angle that I turn, it's like creating depth underneath my eyes, and I don't look so hollow, and my cheeks don't look like they have sunken down because it's built them back up, and I really like it. All right, I'm gonna keep using NV plus one, and I'm gonna show you above your eye is the same thing. It's going to create this illusion of lift and open and show off your features. So I'm not trying to shape shift my body and my face to, I am 52, turned 53 in November, and I just want to look my best. I'm not trying to look younger, but I definitely don't want to look tired, and that really helps. You see how I'm fixing that pocket? So I have bad sinuses, and this sometimes, this will flatten out and go wide as we get older, and this sometimes, some people get even more hollow. But see this, I get a bag in here sometimes, my sinuses, I must have a section in there, and if they're really bad, I have a little bag that will come up there. This works on that. So I'm just taking the same concept as I did underneath my eyes, and now I am going and creating the lightest and brightest. So right here, where it's light and bright, I'm just going to add, and it's exactly where my bone is, but see, my skin is falling. All right, so I'm just going right on that bone to the brightest point on there and giving a little bit of depth to that. And you see, it looks like I have opened up my eye, and love it. I love it. Now, I do have that vein right there, but I'm going to filter that out in just a minute. Love it. I'm actually going to do this too. I'm going to have to look in the mirror and add a little right in there. That's just like kind of makes the eye look like it's scooped back a little bit and opens up this and makes this brighter. It's very addictive to play in. I can tell you that much. Okay, same thing here. This eye's a little different. You see how this is more prominent? I just want to fix the areas that I want. I want this more of a pocket. You always want to kind of turn side to side to get different angles. But when you're using such little product, if you're using such little product, I thought that was my sister driving by. So it distracted me. And now I have the middle school brain, and I can't think because I'm in middle school all day. Okay, I don't know what I was saying, guys. I don't know what I was saying. So each eye is different. This one tends to have a little more skin that hangs down. That's, like I said, I'm more aged on this side. This is my driving side, taking my son to ball games and being the taxi driver like we've all done, right? So you just kind of fix the eye and don't try to do the exact same thing on both. You just kind of see what needs to be addressed. And if you notice how little product, it's so saturated, it's almost like a marker, okay? So it's like I just keep using what product is on the brush. Okay, you can't go wrong with that. I'm going to do a little right there, little drama underneath there. All right, I'll come back and filter that in a minute while I have the product in my hand and I have the NV Plus One. I'm going to tap off some of this lip conditioner just a little bit because it's soaked in. I always like to put it on first and then tap it off a little bit. All right, I'm going to use the NV Plus One again. And when you smile, I've tried to do this thing, go all the way across, and I just hit my nose. I've tried to do the thing, I just can't. So it just looks odd because my lips have aged and lost volume. So I'm going right on the pink to where it touches the skin. Just right there. That's the only place I'm going to put it. So look at your lips and see what you need. You can see how this is like lost color over time where my lip actually was. And then I like to create depth back this way to give more volume here. I'm wearing Demi. That's my eyeshadow. Envy +1 is what I put on. That's it. I get asked that a lot. What eyeshadow are you wearing? And I said, well, I'm not wearing any. I'm wearing Envy +1. Okay, so I did a little there. I'm going to clean off my brush, and I'm going to take NR. And in the places where I do not have color, that I want it a little lighter than the Envy, like on this front center part, I use the NR. Right here, see where it's faded? I'm more on the pink now. I'm not overlining. I can't overline. I've tried it. It looks unusual on me, and it's always noticeable. It's just like I've been eating a candy bar or something. I can't do it. And miss my lip, you know? I'm going to clean off my brush, and I'm going to do the same concept on my lip as my eyes. Taking the tiniest amount of Envy +1. Tiny. Got to be careful. I don't want to make my lines more accentuated around my lips, so I'm not going to place it like a line or anything. I just want to enhance a little bit, and I have freckles there. We're just talking the smallest amount. Here, I have freckles here, so I'm going to skip them and just put a little there. I mean, we're talking subtle. And I have more lines on this side than the other. All right, then I like to take a little on the end of my nose, what's left on my brush, Envy +1, and just kind of enhance where I have some of this natural shadows there, and just kind of connect them because I have large pores and that kind of thing. So I'm just kind of connecting the dark spots. All right, now I'm going to take the fluffy end of this brush, and I'm going to do Cherry. Love it. And I just tap it on. I love all the Fruit Punch collection. I love it. Okay, so now the very last thing I'm going to do is the distractions. And Honest to Peak, guys, 1 to 2. Now, if I have a breakout or anything like that these are pretty much like healed. So that's when you might need a Y01. I'll probably just do 03 mostly for the dark points. I'm going to use a tiny little brush. And if you notice, I started larger brush and went down to size. I'm reconnecting. Am I connected? It said I had poor connection. Never have poor connection here. I always have good service. All right, 03, tiny little brush. Now I'm going to go to the eyes, and I'm only going to target the tiniest. They're so much easier to see now. So much easier to see. Oh, good. I'm glad. Do you see that? And now look, I don't want to get rid of all of that because that's what gave me this depth of my cheek. I'm just going to a dark freckle in there that gives that illusion that it's came down too far. And see, I love it. And there's a dark freckle there and a dark freckle there. And that's it. I want some of that shadow. See, it looks as if my cheek had just lifted up. Do you see this little? Yes, love it. And this little vein in here. I mean, it's just like super dark, but I just touch it with my 03 and we're done. And here I have a little more, they're a little more prominent. They were that way when I was younger. But because of the texture of the skin has changed due to age, the freckles that, or even though they were prominent here on this side when I was younger, they just kind of lose their youthfulness. But I'm okay with having guys, I just touched right there because it's my sinuses and they're all aggravated right now. And like, seriously, you can feel it. It's like tender. There. And this is like a part of like, I'm not going to try to zero that out. Just here where it's coming down too far. And you see that. Oh gosh, guys, look at this. Then there's just a couple of dark points here and there, freckles. It is not cooling off. It is, when I drove home today, I finally got in my car to come home at 4 p.m. and it was literally 95 degrees. And I'm usually, you know, I'm hoping it cools off soon for my students to be able to get out because we're going to be doing some soil testing. And it's just, I can't take them out like this. It's just miserable. And I want to run, but I can't wait. I like to run outside, not a treadmill person, and I'm not a gym person. I'm more like, I'm not getting in, I just don't want to be in everybody's business and then be in mine while I'm working out. So I like to go run. And I go run when I get home, but I can't. You can't breathe. Oh, yeah. I hope we get some rain. I mean, we've been good with rain, but I hope we get some rain the next couple of days or they're really going to be affected this fall. And I've planned a cool trip for my students. And we're going to be out and about and for like the whole grade, and it's going to be in the peak of leaf changing, and we're going to be out in the wilderness, and I really hope they're showing out that week. So I hope we get some rain. So all I'm doing right now is just targeting dark points, distractions, and you don't have to touch everything. And this is what I do, especially when you're training your eye, because you can get really lost in yourself and lost in all the distractions if you're looking really close. I just have learned those that stick out the most to me and go with it and leave the rest of them alone. And I just kind of memorize where they're at now. And but first starting out, I'd say look away. What do you see first? Target that. Then don't look at it no more. Go somewhere else. Just kind of like don't do a whole area. I'm using O3. Don't try to do a whole area because like on this side of my face, I could really get lost in all of them. But just touch a spot or two, go over here and just like, okay, I'm done. And then look away, and I guarantee you it's not as many, you wouldn't have to touch as many as you think. All right, so here, I'm not gonna look in the mirror, I'm just gonna pick, like this one sticks out to me, this one, and I'm just targeting, just dotting over what is the most prominent to me. And sometimes I forget my nose, like the veins, because, sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't. And then I look in my mirror and I kind of look close and say, oh, okay. I do have this gypsy we were playing. I was in the ground. I should have known better. I was down on the floor playing with her, and her paw came up and clawed me. So in my chin, this is a good chin week. If I'm going to break out hormonally, your nose is always red. I would if your nose is very red, tone it first. If that's the one thing that stands out to you, and it's more bold than anything else, and there's ladies I have that their nose just seems to stand out to them. If you at first are distracted by it, take a little bit of the OY1 or Y01 and just and tone it down just a little. Don't worry about filtering it and covering it. Just tone it down and look away. Let your nose calm down, because if you have an area that's prone to get red, just realize as you're touching it, it's going to get redder. So just touch and go, as Kara has said before, touch and pray. Just let it go and let the skin calm down. It'll amaze you, because if you just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, it's just going to get more and more aggravated, and you feel like you have to put more and more. So just kind of like trust the color. So these guys are a little more on the pink with a little bit of, but I could probably take out a lot of that with the 03 and take the depth of it away. So I'm just going to take a tiniest dot. I've already cleaned it off on my tile, which I love that tile, which is also on sale. And I'm just dotting in the lilac areas around it. And see, what happens is the brain is finding a dark point, and then it's processing anything in that area that mimics that color is going to show up. That's the reason why we target the darkest point first, and then you realize, wait a second, most of the color that was near it is kind of gone. So you don't have to touch everything. That's the reason why in person that there is no texture of makeup, because you have so little on. All right, so then I'm going to take 03, see that really dark point, and it's just it's going to be really still and just dot the darkest part. Then turn side to side to see if you see any kind of texture. And I see product right there. All right, I think I'm done. Love it. All right. Oh yeah, I want to do this. I was going to do my nose. Sometimes I use my nose right here will tendency to get red. It's not too bad right now. So I am going to use just 03. If you're fair, like an 01. And I'm just going to use an 03 to tone down the depth of those veins that are in there. If they were some red around it, I would use, and I have less on this side. So I just kind of dot over top of it. And then I have large pores on my nose, so right only on the bridge I'm just going to dot the depth of that shadow of that pore. I mean, not putting product in it, I'm just dabbing, and then this is also going to help the contouring because it brightens it up. Guys, that is so fun. And just for funsies, I'm going to take like one of these reds. I'm going to take a red orange one, and right at the lip line in between the NV, there's a couple of freckles in there, and I'm just going to dot, and it's going to give you more of that border that we like to have. I like it. I like it a lot. And there's just freckles that are just, they kind of, sometimes they're just accentuating things that I don't want them to. But yet putting a lot of product there doesn't make sense to me on my skin. Okay, I'm finished. All right. I'm just done. Look, would you look at my under eyes? Oh yeah, sorry, one more thing. I get distracted. This little tear stain right there. I'm just using 03. Don't you love it? I love doing that too. I love doing grape. Here, I take a little grape. I love doing that too. And you know what else I like to do with grape? I love doing this, taking grape. There's ladies that when I color match in person, especially they're younger, but sometimes it's just richer skin tones, they will have a lot of this violet, beautiful veins right next to the lash line, and they always have really thick lashes. I don't know why those that have really thick lashes have this beautiful color right next to the lash line, and it's very violet. And that's all I'm doing. I have some, but not a lot. And my eyeliner is tattooed on. So I can take the Demi and actually, because it's translucent, I can change the color of the tattooing. I can make the black eyeliner a little warmer using NR. I can make it more cooler, but a little more on that variation. It just looks very varied from the liner up to the top part of my lid. And it just looks like there's a lot of little veins in there, and I like that because it's so pretty. Just seeing it in person and seeing ladies that have that beautiful color around their eyes, it's like, I wish I had that, you know? It's so pretty. And so grape is really pretty to do that with. I don't know, it just looks like fleshy, healthy skin. And could you believe I have NV+1 underneath my eyes? Is that not insane? Thank you. All right, guys, I appreciate you joining in. I'll share a before and after. And if you have any questions, please ask away. If you're new and you want to be color matched, you can go to yes.outtherematchme.com, and I'll be glad to create a plan for you. You get video clips that are custom. You get some graphics that are custom to you and to help you, and we troubleshoot back and forth as you're learning, and always glad to help. Take a lot of time at the beginning to teach the Demi to you, but it's well worth it, because once you have become more bold and experiment and see how it works on the skin, you're like a little bird, and you're just like brave and doing it all on your own. Okay, you just flew the coop. All right, thank you guys for joining in, and you guys have a great evening.